This day in Philly sports history is proud to be a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network, where passionate fans make powerful content. Check out theclashingconferences.com and join the squad today. What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for July 3rd, 2026. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a feel-good Friday edition of the podcast. Today's a little bit more feel-gooder than normal. Yes, it's a Friday, but it's also 4th of July, long weekend for many of us. That's why I'm coming at you a little bit later today. And since I won't be on tomorrow for the weekend, just want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July, happy 250th birthday, America. And as we celebrate today, tomorrow, even into Sunday, or if you've already started the celebration, yeah, America's not perfect. I'm not going to sit here and be super Hulk Hogan, real American today, but I think it's worth remembering that America's always been a work in progress. And I think to a certain point, to a certain level, when those guys were in Philadelphia 250 years ago, I think that's what they always meant it to be, a work in progress. And I think it's not more evident than in Philly, in the Philadelphia area, the city, the birthplace of America. But I think that's sort of what I feel they wanted it to be, was a work in progress. And not to go into the nerdy history stuff, but lots of things in the Constitution were purposely left vague in order to sort of adapt as the country grew. But I think, especially here in Philly, we've never been about perfection. We're about grit, resilience, and people who keep showing up. We know what it's like to get knocked down. We make mistakes. We face the disappointments and still believe the next play, the next season, the next chapter, the next day can be better. And I think that's sort of the message we should take as we're celebrating the 250th birthday of America. That resiliency is what make this city, make this country special. Have we always gotten it right? Absolutely not. But there have always been people willing to roll up their sleeves and make things better, to dig in and to fight for what's right. And I think that's the important message. Has it been perfect? Absolutely not. But I think there's enough good things in this country to celebrate this weekend, and I think we should be thankful for them. I think we should celebrate them, warts and all, because all of us make mistakes, and to me, that is the story of America. The grit, the resilience, the getting knocked down, but keep getting back up, the showing up, the fighting for what's right. So however you're going to spend the next couple of days, be safe between the heat. Don't be an idiot and drink and drive and all that other crazy stuff, but enjoy it and celebrate the good things about our country, because quite frankly, there are a lot of good things. And on the news and all the shows and everything you see, it's always about the negative. It's like the WIP syndrome. They always talk about Jalen Hurts this, Jalen Hurts that. Not Jalen Hurts won us a Super Bowl. Not let's celebrate that. So I think let's focus on the positive, focus on the resilience, and remember that we are a work in progress. 250 years later, we're a work in progress. We talk every Tuesday motivation, positivity, that I'm 47 going on 48 years old, and I'm still a work in progress. So I think that's what our founding fathers intended this experiment, I guess, to be. And 250 years later, we're still a work in progress, but there's a lot of good to celebrate. So as you're celebrating, remember all of that and take a moment to appreciate the freedoms we have, the freedoms we enjoy. Remember the people who helped to protect them for us, specifically our service members, past and present. And to all the communities and the people that are willing to roll up their sleeves, fight for what's right, and move this country forward. So happy birthday, America. Here's to the next 250 years. And most importantly, be safe. Don't be an idiot and drink and drive and any of that other crazy stuff. All right. So, not a good day, not a good feel-good Friday for the Phillies. I guess depending on how you look at it. Maybe it's a feel-good Friday for them because they're off the field, they're in Kansas City, and they don't have to worry about playing in the heat. But that was just a very uninspired game. And look, I'm not knocking them. It's a long 162-game season. It was brutally hot on the field yesterday. But they did earn a split this series with the Pirates. Bryce did get an RBI, 8th straight game with an RBI. They couldn't hit. Kyle Schwarber didn't have a good series. I'm a little concerned with Jose Alvarado. I feel like this is about the 3rd or 4th time I've said this on this podcast, so I don't know. But they're off today. They got a weird wraparound 3-game series with Kansas City. And then I believe they're in Detroit and then Cleveland or Cleveland, Detroit. I'm not sure which direction they're going. But some winnable games. It's quite possible that they'll be in first place by the All-Star break. And a little bit more on that Zach Wheeler, Don Mattingly thing. I got to say, I actually like both of their points of view on there. Obviously, Zach Wheeler didn't want to come out of the game. I don't think he's ever going to want to come out of the game. He was talking about, I think I've earned this. I think I've done this. And he's right. I also like Don Mattingly's thing where he said, yes, I'm glad he wants to be that way. He talked about Clayton Kershaw never wanting to come out of games no matter what. But he also said, I got to do what's best for the team. And that's what he felt was best for the team. So I think both of them are right. I don't know if they have spoken yet. I think they have. I don't think this is a big kerfluffle, so to speak. But I like both of the fire in both of those guys. I like Wheeler's not wanting to come out of the game. But at the same time, I like Mattingly saying, yeah, that's great. But I'm the manager of the team, sort of setting that tone. So I like it. But no Phils tonight as they get ready to take on the Royals in a rematch of the 1980 World Series this weekend. Sixers and Mike Gansey are still active, signing Anthony Simons to a 2-year, $12.3 million contract. Next year, or the second year, is a player option, and I like this. This is like right out of Howie Roseman's textbook on how to be a GM. Simons wanted to come to Philly. He thought it was a good fit. He is a huge upgrade over Quentin Grimes. The dude can flat out shoot coming off the bench. He felt he was a good fit here. Obviously, Mike Gansey thought he was a good fit here. We finally, they've addressed the weakness that the team had, which was guard depth. They have guard depth now. And Anthony Simons, I mean, it's essentially a 1-year prove-it deal for him. If he doesn't play well, or doesn't have the season to get that big payday, he can elect his player option, and it's still a low-cost player for the Sixers for next year. If he has a breakout season, he can decline the option and go get paid. So he's essentially betting on himself. And again, this is right out of Howie Roseman's playbook. I love it. And again, this is a huge upgrade for tomorrow. They still need a forward / big man type help. They have one more spot left on the roster. Still a lot of folks talking about it being LeBron. I don't know. I was joking around yesterday. It'd be great and typical of LeBron to come out at the reading of the Declaration of Independence at Independence Hall, do his smoke thing and announce and rip off his shirt and say, I'm signing in Philly. But it's not going to happen. The other thing was Jaylen Brown sent a message, I guess, partly to the Boston fans, partly to the Philly fans. And my big takeaway is he was pissed about the way it ended in Boston. And I love, so he was on a Twitch stream and he talked about it. He essentially said he was programmed to hate Philly, programmed to hate the process. And he's like, I got to get adjusted to that. And I absolutely love that. I love that in Boston, they're still holding on to that and saying hate Philly, because we hate Boston. I'm not saying, oh, they're this. No, I love it. I love the rivalry being the same with the Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Knicks. Program the hate. And the fact that he openly said that, I absolutely love it. Like Chase Utley still to this day hates the Mets. And I think it's awesome. I think you need some sort of level of that. It is odd and rare that Jalen's coming from Boston here, but the fact that he openly acknowledged that I like, and he also said the process is back the F on. So not many of us left the process truthers, but there's still that slimmer of hope that the vision of Sam Hinkie could come to fruition. Just took a different scenic route to get there. But we'll have more on the Sixers on Monday and where sort of they stand with that last roster spot. World Cup tomorrow, France and Paraguay down in Philly, the last World Cup game in Philly. I think overall, by all accounts from people I've heard that have been there, the reports you're seeing, and I think you get a lot of the truth on social media, seem like it's been an awesome experience and a good positive for the city, and hopefully that leads to more bigger international events or even national events. But kudos to the World Cup Philly team. But that game is tomorrow at 5 p.m. Mbappe and France take on Paraguay. You gotta love it. And then there was a report, I guess Vic Fangio spoke, and the rumors are true, that Cooper DeJean is going to be moving to safety. And I like that. And I think that's fine. That was always sort of the thought process when he was drafted, that he had the versatility to do that. So we'll see how that goes. But that was, I forget where he was, but it was an interview that Vic Fangio said. But again, I like it. And then a little bit off the normal things that we talk about, I want to shout out a friend of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network, Patrick Brady, who will be fighting tomorrow in the bare-knuckle fighting, tonight, bare-knuckle fighting championship, the Liberty Brawl down at Xfinity Mobile Arena. Good dude, again, friend of the network, and he is in the heavyweight featured bout tonight. I don't know if that's going to be on TV or if it's pay-per-view or what, but I've watch some of the fight. It's an interesting sport, so be sure to check it out. And if you're looking for somebody to root for our friend Patrick Brady. All right, trivia question from yesterday. The Boston Red Sox in 1920 walked 20 times in a game to set the Major League record. That was a 12-inning game. The Washington Senators in 1971 walked 19 times, and that was in a 9-inning game. So thank you to everybody who reached out and tried to answer the trivia question from yesterday. Quick housekeeping note, be sure to follow me on all social media platforms at Philly Jimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, also at Philly Jimbo, and spread the word as we grow this thing. Why not? It's going to be hot. It's 4th of July. Mention it to somebody, let them listen, and tell them to hit the subscribe button as well. Turn heads and bring the hype with a custom hype chain from Lotwin. Perfect for youth sports, fantasy football, or just flexing your pride. Go to Lotwin.com, use the promo code TCCPOD for 10% off your order. That's Lotwin.com, promo code TCCPOD for 10% off. Get your custom hype chain and get hype with Lotwin. All right, July 3rd. First, we're going to go back to 1977. Phillies beat the Pirates 11-7 at the Vet. Mike Schmidt goes 3 for 3 with a triple and a homer. It was an inside the park homer. Almost had another one, but was thrown out at the plate. So his triple was essentially, he was attempting to get an inside the park home run. It was the second and final inside the park home run of his career. Greg Luzinski had 3 RBI. Richie Hebner also had 3 RBI with a triple as the Phillies pound the Pirates 11-7 at the Vet. Mike Schmidt showing off the wheels with an inside the park home run and a triple. Not necessarily known for his speed, but Mike was showing it off on this day in 1977. Then in 1984, Tim Corcoran and Ozzie Virgil homered, but Jerry Koosman gave up 6 earned runs as the Phillies lose to the Reds 6-5 at the Vet in front of 63,816 fans, the most ever in Pennsylvania baseball history to see a regular season game, all because of the fireworks show that was going on. The fireworks show was started in 1972 at the Vet. And a lot of times, especially during those lean years in the late 80s, early 90s, it was the biggest, highest attended games of the season. Oftentimes going 60,000 plus. If you ever seen the fireworks show from the Vet, it was good. If you've seen it at Citizens Bank Park too, the fireworks shows are amazing. But that was why the Phillies got that many people in the seats on this day in 1984. And that leads us to today's trivia question. What is the largest crowd when was the largest crowd for a baseball game, period? You kind of get a hint there. If this day was a regular season game, probably means it was a postseason game. But the highest crowd in Pennsylvania baseball history is 67,064 fans. When was that crowd? Hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531 or any of my social media platforms at Philly Jimbo or the Discord channel, which is in the description. But when was the largest crowd at a Pennsylvania baseball game? 67,064 fans. All right, then fast forward to 1993, and one day after that marathon doubleheader that the players were at the stadium for over 12 hours, the Phillies and Padres were set to face each other again at 7:05. No rain. Lenny Dykstra hit a home run, but the Phillies lost 6-4. But I guess the bigger story of this was prior to the game, the Phillies and Padres made a trade. This is the trade that brought Roger Mason to the Phillies for Tim Mauser. Mason was one of the more consistent relievers for the Phillies down the stretch and into the postseason. Probably still should have been left in a little bit longer in that game 6 up in Toronto, which would have saved David West, and it would have saved Larry Anderson as well. Maybe you don't need Mitch Williams in that situation if you leave Roger Mason in. But Mason, when he was informed of the trade, walked over from the Padres clubhouse to the Phillies clubhouse and was in uniform that night. Did not pitch because he had pitched in both games of the doubleheader the night before. But the Phils acquire Roger Mason while the Padres are in town on this day in 1993. And then 1999, Marlon Anderson went 5 for 6 with a homer, a double, a 2 RBI. Ron Gant, I'm loving throwing these rants. I always forgot Ron Gant was here in Philly. But Ron Gant had 4 RBI, also homered, as the Phillies scored 21 runs on 21 hits to beat the Cubs 21-8 on this day in 1999. And then in 2019, Bryce Harper homered. It was the 200th of his career, and it came on his 1,000th hit. So 2 milestones, 1 hit. He's the only player in Major League Baseball history to get that type of milestone hit or home run on a milestone hit, kind of like the even numbers or whatever. But his 200th home run came on his 1,000th career hit. Unfortunately for the Phillies, they lose that day to the Braves 9-2.
It's time for Fridays with AI, where we ask AI to rewrite Philly sports history. Every Friday, only on This Day in Philly Sports History.
Right, it is Friday. That means it's time for Fridays with AI, brought to you by Philly Goat. Go to phillygoat.com. They got you covered for your Philly sports-based apparel. Got you covered for all your Sixers needs. Now would be the time to get the Sixers. They have the Philly basketball one with Ben Franklin. Can't wait to wear that tomorrow to the parade. But they go through, scroll their site. They got you covered for all the major sports, minor sports, neighborhoods. Just do yourself a favor. Scroll through the site. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. All right, so we're going to continue our deep dive look at the 66-67 Sixers. Last week, they beat the 86-87 Lakers in a dramatic 3-1 come-from-behind victory. Today will be an interesting one. It's the 95-96 Bulls. Still, even though the Warriors team that they'll play next week are kind of more recently, I guess, the better team, quote unquote. I think for a lot of people, the 95, 96 Bulls are sort of that gold standard. This is an interesting series because we're going to get a look at the GOAT debate at Michael versus Wilt. Kind of people in my generation will say MJ is the greatest. People from like my dad and my uncle's generation will say Wilt was the GOAT. So we're going to see it. And in this series, the Bulls are actually the home team, having a 72-10 regular season record. All right, so game one in Chicago, the Bulls dominated the second half after only being up 4 at halftime. Michael Jordan had 34. Dennis Rodman controlled the glass with 19 rebounds, helping to limit the second chance points of the Sixers, who just looked uncomfortable trying to adjust to the pace of the 1990s game. Wilt, to his credit, had 25 points, 16 boards, but Hal Greer struggled to shoot, and with no rebounding really other than Wilt, it really hurt the Sixers as they lose it 115-97. Game two was more of the same. More Bulls, more domination. Scottie Pippen had 21 points, 10 assists. Dennis Rodman grabbed 14 rebounds again as the Bulls out-rebounded the Sixers 62-48. Jordan had 26. Wilt was held to 18 points, 15 rebounds, which was very low for a Wilt Chamberlain game. Hal Greer's shooting struggles continued, and the Sixers had no defense for the Bulls' ball movement, as the Sixers go down 2-0, losing this game 117-99. All right, back in Philly, the Sixers were able to use the home court at Convention Hall and kind of find a rhythm. Wilt took over and almost messed around and had a triple-double, 26 points, 15 points, 9 rebounds. Sixers shooting got better. Hal Greer had 21 points. Bulls did rally late in the second half and actually took the lead after 3 quarters. It was a back-and-forth fourth quarter, but Chet Walker hit a big 3 in the fourth. Wilt had 2 key blocks late as the Sixers held on to win 121-119 to cut it to 2-1. Jordan had 28. Pippen had 25, but nobody else really did much for the Bulls. Game 4, another dominant performance by Wilt Chamberlain. 31 points, 24 rebounds. Michael Jordan, though, had 43, but the collective team effort of the Sixers was enough. Chet Walker had 23. Billy Cunningham finally had a good game in this series with 19, and the interior size of the Sixers was the difference in this one. They held off a late Bulls rally. Wilt had 5 blocks. A 3 by Wally Jones gave the Sixers the lead for good, as it was 120-116 as the Sixers go back to Chicago, tying the series up at 2 games apiece. And as the old adage says, the series doesn't start until the home team loses a game. So at this point, both home teams held court. Game 5 back in Chicago, a pivotal Game 5. Wilt had 30 points, 18 rebounds, 6 blocks, played solid defense. The Sixers in general forced the Bulls to take some difficult shots. Jordan still got his points with 33. Pippen had 25, but it was the Sixers winning 122-114 to go up 3-2 on the Bulls, put them on the brink. It was Michael, Scottie, and nobody else did anything, but Wilt exerted his dominance in this game as the Sixers are on the brink of upsetting the 95-96 Bulls. Game 6 in Philly, Sixers look to close out at home. Wilt found his groove and was on fire. 34 points, 21 rebounds, but Michael Jordan took over the game, ended the game with 36 points. Luke Longley had 4 key blocks. The Bulls were able to control the tempo. Michael Jordan put the team on his back and said, I will not lose this game. Bulls win it 122-113 to force a Game 7 winner-take-all in Chicago. Both home teams lost the pivotal games 5 and 6. All right, Game 7 was a classic war of attrition. It was back and forth the entire game, so much so that it went into overtime. It was tied at the end of regulation, but the Bulls' conditioning and the championship experience was the difference in this. The Sixers looked tired and fatigued, struggled to get clean looks in the overtime. Jordan put the team on his back, attacked, and won it. at the free throw line. He was attacking, and the Sixers were tired, and he wasn't able to. They weren't able to stop him. Jordan took over, won at the free throw line. Bulls outscored the Sixers 17-8 in the overtime. Jordan had 30 points, 21 rebounds. Wilt had 30 points, 21 rebounds, 8 assists. Dennis Rodman had 22 rebounds. Michael Jordan had 39 points. But the difference in this game was the free throw shooting. Bulls shot 85% to the Sixers 60%. The 95-96 Bulls knock out the 66-67 Sixers in a classic. Michael Jordan was the MVP, averaging over 30 points per game. But as far as the GOAT debate, and I think this is where I think we need to have a discussion about what we're looking for with GOAT. Because this series proved that from an individual dominance performance, Wilt can dominate through any era. We saw him, obviously, in his era dominate. We saw him against the Celtics in the mid-'80s and the Lakers in the mid-'80s dominate. He was able to hold his own against a team from the mid-'90s, widely considered one of the greatest teams ever. So from an individual dominance performance, maybe it is Wilt. And maybe we need to define the parameters of what the GOAT is. But for Jordan, it's the winning efficiency. He's the ultimate competitor. He did not want that team to lose. 3-2. He put the team on his back for games 6 and 7 and willed them to victory. So I don't know. Do we look at stats? Do we look at winning? And I think that's the age-old debate of the GOAT. And look no further than the quarterback of our football team. Jalen Hurts doesn't have the gaudy numbers, but he's been to 2 Super Bowls, been to the playoffs every year. And I know it's a team game, but at the same time, a little food for thought here on a 4th of July. So as you're going to your barbecues and your cookouts this weekend, something to think about. But in this one, for Fridays with AI, the 95-96 Bulls beat the 66-67 Sixers in 7 games. Next week, they play the 16-17 Warriors. Anxious to see that one because on paper, if the Sixers could play their good perimeter defense like they did a couple games in this series against the Bulls, they should be able to shut them down. And Wilt should be able to dominate KD and Draymond down low. But we'll see. That will be next week, though, so stay tuned for that. But that is Fridays with AI, brought to you by Philly Goat. Go to phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. And then finally today, great matchup this week, or for today, going into the weekend in our tournament. Brought to you by Beach Caddy. Go to beachcaddy.app if you're in Sea Isle, Ocean City, Wildwood, Avalon, or Stone Harbor. They take the stress out of your Jersey Shore vacation. They'll take your stuff from your car, move it up into your house, and then move it out at the end of your stay. And, of course, the best beach carts at the Jersey Shore. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% your move in, move out, as well as your beach cart rentals. That's beachcaddy.app. So Tom Gola won yesterday, beating Markieff Morris with 100% of the vote to move on. And we got a great 4-5 matchup out of the Overbrook region today. Gene Banks taking on Aaron McKee. Let's start with Gene Banks, the 4 seed. Went to West Philly High, named to All-American teams 3 years in high school. So his sophomore, junior, and senior years, he was making All-American teams. Helped lead West Philly to 3 straight public league titles. They had a 68-game winning streak at one point. He was the Parade Player of the Year. He was named to the inaugural McDonald's All-American team. Was the MVP of the Capital Tournament. He was the MVP of the Dapper Dan Tournament. Essentially, the Capital Tournament was the McDonald's All-American game. It was just had a different setup there. He was highly recruited and was widely considered one of the top 3 players in the country. It was him, Albert King, and some guy from Michigan named Magic. So that's how good Gene Banks was. Gene went to Duke, started as a freshman, helped turn a last place Duke team in the ACC into a top 10 team, led them to the Final Four before losing in the championship game. First Duke freshman to have a triple-double. He was the ACC Rookie of the Year. and helped turn the entire Duke program around. From the time he was there, it's sort of he was one of the first black recruits to play at Duke, and really kind of helped set the stage for Coach K. He was third team All-American, was the 28th pick in the NBA draft, had a solid 6-year NBA career, was an assistant coach. Maybe, just maybe, the tournament selection committee got this wrong, because looking at those accolades, Gene Banks may have been should have been a little higher than a 4 seed. He's taking on Aaron McKee, who went to Gratz, who was also scouted to play Major League Baseball. Aaron was a pitcher, so he was a two-sport star at Gratz, helped lead them to their first public league title in 51 years. From there, he went to Temple, all A-10. In high school, too. He was all Scholastic and all Southeastern Pennsylvania. Again, helped lead them to their first public league title. Went to Temple, all A-10, led the Owls to 2 Elite Eights, had a solid 13-year NBA career, including a stint with the Sixers where he won Sixth Man of the Year in 2000-2001. He was an assistant coach and then ultimately coached at his alma mater at Temple. But now it's your turn. Who moves on? Some things to think about. And if you have some older folks or older generation people in your family, ask them about Gene Banks. But who moves on? Gene Banks or Aaron McKee? Get your votes in any way you can. 267-495-8531. That's the Back to the Future voice and text line, or any of my social media. Let me know your thoughts on the Bulls versus the Sixers. The 95-96 Bulls versus the 66-67 Sixers. How do you think that would play out in real life? 2019, Bryce Harper hit his 200th career home run on his 1,000th career hit. Marlon Anderson goes 5 for 6 as the Phillies scored 21 runs on 21 hits to beat the Cubs 21-8 in 1999. Roger Mason, acquired from the Padres, walked across the turf at the Vet from the visitors to the home clubhouse on this day. And Mike Schmidt showing off the wheels on this day in 1977. We will be back on Monday to rewind the weekend, get you ready for the United States Belgium game, the round of 16. Recap the Phillies Royals series, as well as any interesting moves that the Flyers and Sixers make. And of course, we'll be back for another exciting week. Lost my train of thought. I apologize. So on that note, be safe this weekend. Don't be an idiot. Don't drink and drive. Don't blow off your hand, Jason Pierre-Paul style. Be safe. Don't be an idiot. Happy birthday, America. Have a great 4th of July. Have a great Feel Good Friday. My name is Jim Montgomery. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for July 3rd, 2026. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.